Bay, Whitley nights, hill sway, movie start.
Hello and welcome along to Mondo Chelloveck Movies. My name is John, and on this video I'm going to talk about 3 films that are going to get released by 88 Films in January. First up is 1969's Love and Crime. This is directed by the same director of the amazing Yakuza Law. It was also from 1969. And I've got to say, as I said many times before, Yakuza Law is probably one of the most violent films I have ever seen in my life. I can't believe what was shown in that film, especially for 1969. Now, bearing that in mind that Love and Crime was a film he made after Yakuza Law, you're halfway there. Yeah, this was a real surprise as well. And it's got 4 stories in here. And what happens at the start of it is that this policeman finds his wife, who has been, I'm going to have to be very careful how I choose my words in this review. He finds his wife and he takes her, she's getting an autopsy, and he's there at the autopsy and he says to himself, I wonder what could have happened to her. And then he recounts on some 4 crimes that were like big real crimes in Japan around about that time or many years before. And then he goes through them and he replays them as a sort of to segue into these 4 real life crimes. So of the 4 stories, 3 of them are dedicated to women killers, and one of them is dedicated to a man. And they are extreme to say the least, especially for 1969. It doesn't shy away from too much here. Now, my favourite story on here was one that I didn't know was going to be on here, and it talked about the legendary kind of Sada Abe, I think that's her name. And there was it was amazing. I couldn't believe what I was seeing because Sada Abe was actually was a real life person, obviously, and she was embroiled in this fantastical tale of, if I can talk about this, where she was playing these games with her partner, and they were involved in certain things which led, unfortunately, to her partner's death. And so what she decided to do was she was so cut up about it, cut up, Freudian slip there. She decided to cut something off and take it with her in a handbag and have it with her for quite a while afterwards. And eventually she got caught and she was put in prison and she got let out again. And nobody really knows what happened to her after she got let out. Weirdly enough, they have an interview with the real Sada Abe in here, which I think is probably one of the only interviews she ever gave, which is many, many years. Actually, it's just around the time in 1969. But the original murders took place in 1930s. Yeah, so, and there is a film out there called In the Realm of the Senses that deals with that, and it's unflinching as well. Wow. Another great story on here is where this woman will stop at nothing to get her hands on this fella's hotel, and that has got some weird twists and turns in it as well. I've got to say, I had such a great time with this, and there's got to be some other films in this format where they would take 4 crimes and put them together on a film. There's no way this was the only one released out there. So I'd love to know if anybody knows about any ones like this. If you leave something down in the comments to tell me, go and look for someone else. I would definitely be on it because, like I say, it was absolutely brilliant. Highly recommended. Really gory, great print. What absolutely crazy stories. That's Love and Crime. Next up is 1986's Love Unto Waste. Now, this movie stars Chow Yun-fat and also Tony Leung and is directed by Stanley Kwan. More about him in a minute. This film has 3 parts or themes for me. It starts off with this group of people and you get introduced to them and they talk about their lives and what they're getting up to and how they're going to progress their lives in their relationships with each other. And then it goes into a murder mystery because suddenly, out of the blue, one of them is killed, like viciously. And then this policeman comes in, Chow Yun-fat, and then it kind of goes more into him, then goes more into melodrama. So you've got a lot of stuff going on in this film. It seems like one of these Japanese films that's like a morality tale. It talks about sort of life in general, and you can't quite pigeonhole it, and you're quite surprised at the way this goes. I had a really good time with it, and I've got to say, Chow Yun-fat, as always, is absolutely brilliant in it, and his character. Without going any more into that, he is such a great and strange policeman. So I had a great time with this film, although I consider it to be more of a drama. So that's Love Unto Waste. And last up is 1987's Rouge. This is directed by Stanley Kwan as well, and also stars Leslie Chung, who was in the amazing A Chinese Ghost Story. Please, please, please let that one come out. I can't believe how that has never been sort of given the treatment by anybody in the UK. and it deserves to be out there. It's one of the best martial arts slash horror films you will ever see in your life. If you think of Evil Dead, it's got everything about Evil Dead is in there. It's just unbelievable. When I saw it on TV, I think Channel 4 played it way back when. I couldn't believe how good it was. But Leslie Chung is in this film, although sadly Leslie Chung took his own life at an early age. What a tragedy. But this is what a film this is. This is absolutely sensational in my estimation. This starts off in the 1930s, although no spoilers in this, where this couple, they get together, but they are frowned upon. So what they do is they have a pact to say, we will end our own lives and we will enter into the afterlife together. That's what happens. And 50 years later, the ghost of the girl is going looking for the ghost of the man. So what she does is she goes to this newspaper office and she says to the guy there, can you put an advert in about this incident? Can I want to contact this person? So he says, well, come back, I'll do it in the morning. So then she disappears and he thinks, well, that's a bit odd. And then he gets on the bus and she's on the bus and he gets off the bus and he's more or less running away from her. And everywhere he goes, she's there. So he says, kind of what's going on? He says, well, I'm a ghost, basically. It's got some funny comedic tones into it, but it's kind of more like a supernatural love story, for want of a better word. But this guy can't believe that he's now talking to a ghost. Now he takes the ghost back to his room because she's got nowhere to stay. And he's trying to feed her with stuff. She can't have anything to eat. And she is saying to him all these stories about, yesteryear in the 1930s. So, of course, his girlfriend comes in and says, who's this? So she has to prove to her that she is a ghost. And the rest of the movie is them trying to go and find this guy, or the ghost of this guy, because she puts an advert in this paper to say, I will meet you at certain place in this area at a certain time. And it's just, I thought it was just really good. I mean, it looks sensational. The actual picture quality in here is stunning. And it's lavish. I remember thinking that back in the day, that when I saw this one, I thought this looks really, really extravagant and luscious. And even though I did enjoy it a lot back in the day, I enjoyed it 10 times more. I think when you grow up and you get different sensibilities, you can see movies for different things. But absolutely brilliant. This is just one of the releases of the month for me. It's just absolutely incredible. I know I'm gushing about it, but I really do rate this movie highly. If you're a fan of this type of genre, or these actors in here, all the cast was absolutely brilliant. I do recommend this one, and the picture quality is absolutely stunning. The extras are absolutely brilliant. So I highly, highly recommend it. So to recap, I had a great time watching these three films. I'll leave a link to 88's website down below if you want to go and pick them up for pre-order. So Love and Crime, Real Crimes, Hyper-Violent, and that appearance by Sada Arbe is unbelievable. Love Unto Waste, what a great melodrama. And Rouge for me is one of the best ever Chinese ghost stories. So, thanks for watching, you take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.